name is Alexandria Kern, and today I will be talking to you about mental health. Specifically, I will be talking about the overdiagnosis of certain disorders. The three main common disorders that are overdiagnosed is bipolar. So when speaking about bipolar, it is a chemical imbalance in your brain, which causes you to have very manic highs and very depressant lows. And of course, those are very extreme because everyone has those mood swings. But the difference between having mood swings and being bipolar is that mood swings happen over a short period of time. You can be happy for an hour or two and be sad the next hour or two. That is a mood swing. Being bipolar, it is different. You have manic highs for 3 months out of the year, and then you have depressant lows for 3 months, and it shifts over a long period of time. And you have that break in the middle of the manic high and the depressant low, where it's a mix of both. So sometimes you can be very manic and then depressant, or you can be both, which a lot of people think that means mood swings, and it's completely different, which is why bipolar is overdiagnosed. When talking about ADHD is being hyperactive and not being able to focus. Technically, it's attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So when speaking about this, a lot of people say, my kid is ADHD when they cannot sit still, or when they move a lot and they're very hyper. Yes, that is a common thing with children who have ADHD, but of course that is not it. ADHD is very different. ADHD is where you cannot sit still, you cannot pay attention for a certain long period of time. It is very different. Of course, I cannot tell you if you're ADHD or not, but I have researched a lot about these two things and actually do suffer from ADHD, so I know that they're completely different. Being hyperactive and having a lot more energy is completely different than being distracted by little things when your teacher's talking or you're having a conversation. It's completely different, which is why ADHD is very overdiagnosed, because people think, I'm hyper, so I must be ADHD, which is not true. And then the last thing we'll be talking about today is depression. Depression is a long-term low mood, meaning that you can be sad, yes, but depression is I'm sad and emotionally drained for a long period of time. So when you're depressed, most people often sleep a lot. They become antisocial. They become inactive in their surroundings. They don't want to do anything. They don't want to talk to people. They don't even want to leave their house most of the times. But being sad, it's a short period of time. Like, if you got a 0 on a test because you didn't do it, you're sad because you got a 0. When you're depressed, you feel as though I'm not good enough to be on this earth, I'm not good enough for my mom, my dad, anything. And most of the time when you're depressed, there becomes very negative thoughts about how I'm worthless and I'm not valuable in this world to live here, which a lot of people who do commit suicide are often diagnosed with depression or not formally diagnosed, but they do have depression. Of course, all of these are things that I feel as though have been overdiagnosed by the research and the people I have talked to. I have talked to Coastal Harbor Mental Facility here in Savannah, Georgia, from doctors and nurses to see if things are overdiagnosed. And my mom has 2 kids that have ADHD and 2 kids that are not. And we act completely different. We're all hyper and things of that nature. So she knows the overdiagnosis of certain disorders. And she is a nurse at Coastal Harbor, which helped me with my research. When speaking about bipolar, a lot of people feel as though you can be bipolar at a young age. And most of the time, doctors don't like to diagnose at a young age because you can grow out of things. And bipolar is one of those things you can't grow out of. And you being a child and having mood swings is completely different than being bipolar. So when they diagnose children with bipolar, a lot of nurses and doctors say they're overdiagnosing it. And when we're talking about depression is very sad and emotionally draining. And actually, my mom and my brother suffer from depression, which I have seen them decay and grow back and decay again and over and over and over again. And it's something that I see all the time, and I can recognize the signs or what I think are signs of being depressed, but it's completely different for everyone. But people like to say they're depressed when they're sad over little things like my teacher yelled at me, my mom and dad yelled at me, and yes, you can become depressed over that, yes. No one's saying that you can't, but that is often reasons why people feel as though it is overdiagnosed. Of course, these are not the only things that are overdiagnosed. There are many things that are overdiagnosed. And of course, when you're talking about overdiagnosis, you go into the overprescription of drugs.